And there are important documents that you will need to get before you put your home on the market. And the first one, if you're in a detached home or attached home, or even some villa condominiums, require a real property report. And I'll let Peter talk about this.
Yeah, this is a copy of a real property report, and unfortunately it's not very clear, but you can see there that's a lot, and then the building on that lot. And the real property report gives a lot more information than what the survey reports used to. And if you've been in your home for a while, chances are what you have is a survey report. And I can't even tell you how many years ago they switched, and now the real property report is what everybody is after. And what that does, it shows the fence on the property, as well as any buildings and decks, and sometimes window wells, air conditioning units. So it's up to the seller to guarantee that their home complies with City of Calgary bylaws. And the only way that you can do that now is by getting a surveyor out and having a real property report done. So it would show, if your fence is on your neighbor's property, for example, it would show how much it's on that neighbor's property. Or if it's going into the back alley too far and is on city property, it would show that as well. Now, the city is mainly concerned with the infractions of you being on their property, and you can get a relaxation for that, but it's going to be have a cost associated with it. It's almost like paying a fine for being on the city property. So that's something to be aware of. But it also shows like window wells, the air conditioning units, the fence, of course. So it's something that is required now. And if you haven't got one, any surveyor will do it. There's usually about $1,000 to get a real property report done. And then it has to go to the City of Calgary for a stamp of compliance. And I don't know if there's a whole lot more that I could say about that.
Actually, if you don't have a real property report, what will happen is the lawyers will do a holdback of funds, and we've seen the lawyers hold back like $10,000 for this real property report, to be completed. And a real property report will probably cost you less than $1,000. And if you don't have a survey company, that does this, then you can always check with your lawyer, because some lawyers will undertake getting the real property report on your behalf. And
actually, I'm just going to add one thing. If you do have a real property report and you've made changes to the property, like added buildings or changed your deck somehow, you might have to get an update. So it's best to have a realtor look at that, or someone look at that to see if there are changes on the real property report that aren't showing, or there are changes to the property that aren't showing on the real property report.
And actually, if you contact the name of the company that did the original real property report, sometimes they won't charge you the full amount to do the update. So just keep that in mind. And other documents you'll need if you own a condominium or a villa that maybe has a homeowners association attached to it, you're going to need condominium documents. And some of these documents are bylaws, financials, AGM minutes, budget. And we find often people don't hang on to these documents, but you will need them, because it would be a condition of an offer for a buyer to have the documents reviewed to their satisfaction. And most management companies now have online order forms, and also with the changes to the internet, a lot of condo boards, they have their own portal as well, just for the owners to go on, and you can download documents. Some of these documents are time sensitive, so don't go out and pay for them right away. Just check with your realtor, and they'll go through the list with you and can help you order the proper documents. So just to be aware of that. And it's also really important that you know your finances. There are still many people that have a mortgage registered on title or a home equity line of credit. And it's really important before you put your home on the market that you know your finances. With some mortgages, there may be a payout penalty. So you need to know this up front. And we review all the expenses with you, so there are no surprises. We recently had a client put their home on the market, but prior to doing this, they did check into their mortgage and they ended up with that they're having a $20,000 payout penalty. So it's just really good to know, what you're dealing with up front. And the most important document is title. Actually, prior to putting your home on the market, we always pull title. And what this does is it tells us who the owners are. And it's really important information because all the owners that are registered on title, they're the ones that will need to sign the documents to list the property for sale. And sometimes, actually, I can tell you about a situation where we pulled title and the homeowner that we were meeting with, I said, oh, there's 2 other names on your title. Who are they? And she said, well, I have 4 sons and I put 2 of them on title. Just if anything ever happens to me, then they can take care of the property. Well, I said, well, they're considered owners because they're registered on title. So we're going to need to talk to them about selling your home because they're going to have to sign the documents. Well, she got back to me and just said, we have a little bit of a problem here because one of my sons doesn't want me to sell, so he doesn't want to sign any documents. So of course, you just needed to get all that sorted out before we were able to do the paperwork. But sometimes, we'll find that there are power of attorneys that they would not be on title, but for somebody who's looking after, the property of someone else who's no longer able to do it, we are in touch with the power of attorney and we need to see proof, that they do have the signing authority, as well as sometimes, we deal with executors. And if this is the case, we need to see, the same thing, a copy of the will showing that they're the executor, as well as a death certificate. And oftentimes we're in touch with lawyers just to have them involved with the whole entire process as well. And also with the title, this sort of tells a story about your property. When we pull title, we'll see that if there's any encroachments or utility right-of-ways or any red flags that are on title that we should be dealing with before we actually list the property for sale.